Chapter 8. Since the second colony seemed in each case to die in exactly the same way as the first, the societies realized that it was as dangerous for healthy cells to be exposed to the transmitted signal of dying cells as it was for them to be exposed to viruses, poisons, and lethal radiation. It appeared that the second colony, upon receiving the alarm signal from the dying first colony, began to mobilize for resistance, and that its very, quote, restructuring for war, end quote, against a non-existent enemy proved as fatal as if it had indeed been attacked. John Newman, The Secret Life of Plants. On one shelf rested a gold mine of movies, including old KMT propaganda footage. On another, Bai Jingrui's 1967 film Lonely 17, A Confucian Confusion, The Puppet Master, and Good Men, Good Women by Huo Xiaoxian, The Taste of Apples, Ang Lee's trilogy, Pushing Hands, The Wedding Banquet, and Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, and finally Will Tiao's Formosa Betrayed. At the desk, Mark sat down and unfolded his bag, pockmarked with holes and limp with slashes. He took his journal out and discovered beneath it a brand new manuscript copy. Unlike the loose collection of papers appearing in his bag time and again over the years, this copy was bound and had a cover. Did it have this cover when I picked it up off the ground? He asked himself. It didn't surprise him that the essays were in his bag. They had reappeared for years, sometimes as part of his own rituals and habits, sometimes unexpectedly at uncomfortable moments. And if someone had told him the manuscript originally came from this very room, he would have had little trouble believing them. He wanted to forget the papers, yet still felt a duty to keep them, return them to its author and larger audiences. Still, the fact that they were now bound with a cover of an elephant head, of Ganesha, sobered him, jolted him to remembrance. He had taken the manuscript to the printers at the beginning of his bike ride, and the printer, dismissive of his accusation that he had stolen Mark's taxonomy, reluctantly printed and bound this new set while Mark hovered over his shoulder, making sure he erased the file. Mark put his journal aside and removed the bound writing from the thin skein of his bag. He checked the Band-Aid. The bleeding had eased, but still dripped from one side of his chin where a long flap of skin hung. He opened the manuscript. Had he wrote this? Doubtfully. He could check it against his journal, since he always wrote first drafts by hand. But he was pretty sure the only writing he had in his bag was his own. Anti-Eugenics and American Populism 70 Years After.